Somehow, my songs always apply to my real life right now. I be predicting the future. I think I'm good at that shit.
There are more ways to shuffle a deck of cards than there are atoms on Earth.
Okay, so welcome. We're going to do the full moon in Aquarius reading. I'm going to do them for each of the signs. I did my own personal one first, just to give you an idea of how it works. I think I'm going to actually figure out what comes in between before the full moon and after the full moon, so I can show you what element the full moon is actually bringing, and then I will put that card in the middle after I figure it out. But I just wanted to show you all, it's gonna when I turn them over, it's gonna look like this. This is gonna be romance, work, home life. Okay, and instead of me actually showing myself doing the calculations from, you know, how we get from Acquisitio to Albus or whatever, I'm just gonna do it, and then I'm gonna throw the card in the middle, and then we'll talk about what exactly is going on. I'm gonna try to keep it as basic as possible. You know, like, I understand Geomancy, and I learned a whole lot from my friend Whishup. I don't know how to insert a link, but I will definitely insert a picture of her you know, her profile and the name, so you can find her, and I will link it down below, because you could definitely, if you want to learn, you can learn on there. And I'm just going to keep it brief, because y'all know how I do. I like to keep things brief. But well, I guess y'all don't really care to hear about mine. So what I'm going to do is, I'm getting ready to do the fire signs. I just wanted to show y'all once again what it's going to look like beforehand. Hold on, I'm gonna show you what I mean real quick. Hold on one second. Okay, so see, this is where my romantic life is before the full moon. It's in Acquisitio, so it's in a position where I'm on the gain. Okay, things are looking up. Okay, and after the full moon, it will be in Albus, right? Meaning, things will be mellow. You know, they'll be stable. You know, it'll be a real cool, chill time. Now, to get from here to here, there's an addition line, okay? And I can easily figure that out, because I don't want to get into all that, but I will show you how I would do it. So see, like, this is 2 dots and this is 2 dots here, so I know the top of the middle figure would be 2 dots. This is 1 dot and this is 2 dots, so I know this would be 1 dot. We have 2 dots here and this is 1 dot. We need an odd number, so it will be 1 dot. And then 1 dot into 2 dots, and so this will be 1 dot. So what we would need is this Cadet Draconis, and that's Kaput Draconis. And I'm gonna tell y'all, this is very interesting, because I had just done a straight romantic reading. I was trying to figure out what did I need to get to where I want. Well, how did I get from where I was to this position that I'm in right now? And I had put Draconis, and I was trying to figure out how to get back to Kaput Draconis, and it was via okay. I'm so sorry, I'm confusing people. I know I am. Who gives a shit about all of that, right? Y'all just want to know what's going on, but I'm just showing you. And then I would find my Kaput Draconis card. Let me find that. Okay, I found my card, and then I will come back, and that'll be in the middle, and we will talk about each one of these steps and what's it mean. Okay. Ooh, I'm so sorry, yappity yap. I get carried away sometimes, and I know I'm not explaining, so it's a little confusing. Okay, so forget all of that. Let's just get into it, and I'm gonna start off with fire signs. Let me clean my space, and let's get it on. All right, hello fire signs. Let's get into your new full moon reading. Okay, so this is your love life before the full moon, after the full moon, your work life before the full moon, after the full moon. As a matter of fact, let's do it like this. We have more space that way. And then the last one is your home life before the full moon and after the full moon. And what I'll do is I will put the card that actually represents the change of the full moon. I will put it here, here, and here. So let's talk about this. So we have Fortuna Major in your love life before the full moon, and we have Cauda Draconis after the full moon. Let me hold these up so y'all can see these. What I can tell you is before the full moon, your romantic life was like a cup full and overflowing. Fortuna Major to me represents like a champagne glass overflowing. Okay, it's stable energy, as you can see, and it's represented by the sun. So you know this is totally positive. Now, after the full moon, you have Cauda Draconis, which is actually a loss, and as you can see, it's mobile. So there are changes going on in your love life. Caput Draconis is the dragon's head, okay, and that's the most fortunate piece. Now, Cauda Draconis does not necessarily mean it's unfortunate, but it means that the fortune is losing because you're at the tail of the dragon now, okay, instead of at the head of the dragon. But it's still a dragon, okay. But it does mean that the situation is changing. Now, give me a moment to do your calculations to figure out what is the actual action that happens with the full moon that changes the fortune from one to the next. Okay, so the card that is going to be represented by the moon, or what the moon is bringing in for you all, is puer, okay, and that's boy, okay, and it's a male's energy. So to me, it could mean that you all are fighting a little bit, bickering a little bit. Masculine energy like that oftentimes brings in arguments, you know, disagreements, aggressiveness, playfulness. Maybe you all are playing a little bit too much, or one person is playing too much and the other is turned off by it, okay? And so whereas you know, y'all were flying high and everything was perfect, now you know you kind of questioning, you know, can you deal with this in particular, which has nothing to do with the Geomancy. The fact that the card that I picked for is Peter Pan, it also makes me think that there's a possibility that one of you is being very childish, okay, and it is a boy card, okay. One of you could be behaving childish, and it could be throwing off the energy between the two of you, okay. So for that's how I see your love life in relation to the moon. Now let's move into your work life. Okay, so before the full moon, I have you as populous. That would say to me that possibly maybe you're working on something with a group, a work project, something public. It could also be, you know, that you're working on something and you decide to go public, or you could be working in the public, or you could just be deciding to pair up with someone on a new road, okay. Where will you be after the full moon? I have you in Fortuna Major, okay. So something that happens along this public path, or this collaboration or group project, is going to bring you from, this is interesting, from the moon, right, which is still illuminated, but it's somewhat dark, it's somewhat mysterious, it's not quite stable, right. Although it is stable energy, it's not quite stable energy. It moves you into the sunlight, meaning, and it could also mean that this is behind the scenes work. This is at this point before the full moon, what you're working on could be still secret. It could be behind the scenes still, and after the full moon it will be out and open because it is with the sun, okay. And your cup is overflowing, like I said. This is a full champagne glass. Now give me a moment so I can figure out how we come from populous to Fortuna Major, and we'll figure out exactly what is the full moon bringing, okay. So if any of you do Geomancy, you know I'm real rusty. I shouldn't have had to figure that out. I should have known that this is Fortuna Major because of the way populous works. Populous and via. It's really easy to figure out what is the middle ground here. Okay, so what the full moon is actually bringing is the full moon is actually bringing a big stroke of luck to your work, okay. this is nothing but the sun shining on you all of a sudden. So it could be actually just the full moon could be catapulting you into public spotlight, you know, into a place to be appreciated. But honestly, to me, I believe what it's saying is that the sun is just going to shine on you, and it's just a good piece of fortune. Okay, you're about to fall into a fortunate period. You've been doing the work, and you know, things are about to be on the up and up. Okay, so just enjoy that. And then we're going to move on to your home life quickly. Before the full moon, I have your home life as a missio. So a missio means like something is off. Okay, it's actually this is Venus. It's actually ruled by Venus, so Venusian energy, feminine energy, okay? It's just, you know, the moods at home could be a little bit off, okay, before the full moon. After the full moon, I have things at Puer, which aren't the best either, okay? Like I said before, Puer is a boy. It represents boy. It represents masculine energy, okay? Mars energy. And, you know, the way I look at it, I kind of feel like when you see feminine and masculine next to each other, you're actually looking at a little bit of a tug of war, okay? Venus runs a lot hotter than Mars does, okay? So, maybe Venus is, you know, before the moon, maybe things are a little too passionate, you know, a little fiery. And after the moon, full moon, things get cold because of what happened when the full moon came. Now, what I need to figure out now is what happens in between Amicio and Puer. Okay, so give me one moment. So what's in between the two is Caput Draconis, and it's the dragon's head. Okay, and that's actually an extremely positive card. Okay, it's stable, it's prosperous, and like I said, it's the head, it's not the tail. It's you know, going after the things that you want, you know, or putting into action to see things done the way you want them done. So in this perspective, and looking back at it, Puer in the After the Moon is not a bad card. What it's saying is that first things were amiss, things were running a little too hot, tempers were a little too hot. You know, things were just a little bit too passionate, and then came the dragon's head. Okay, but I could look at that in an opposite way, but I'm not, especially since it's on a lady card. I'm gonna say that the full moon is actually going to bring an opportunity for you to see that you two are chasing after the same thing. Well, you and your household, you and everyone in your household need to be fed the same way, okay? And I believe that having Puer in the after the moon cycle is saying things just cool off. Things cool off. Things become a little more playful. Things become, you know, a little less heated, okay? So I hope you enjoyed that, fire signs. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Feel free to comment down below, good and or bad, and we're going to get right on into earth signs. So hello, earth signs. We're going to get right on into your full moon in Aquarius reading. I forgot to light my candle in the last video. Oh, wow. Okay, so let's see your love life before the full moon, after the full moon. Your work life before the full moon, after the full moon. Okay, home life before the full moon and after the full moon. I kind of like that layout a little bit better. Okay, so your love life before the full moon, I have you at Acquisition. Okay, after the full moon, I have you at Rubius. Okay, okay, so before the full moon, I see that the relationship was moving on the up and up in some way. It is ruled by Jupiter, so there was some stroke of luck and things were looking on the up and up. After the full moon, though, I see a move in the decline. Okay, and I have you as Rubius. Okay, Rubius is red. It means to be in the red. If you think about if you're doing your books and you're in the red, you know that there's something missing, something is at a loss. Okay, I don't quite know exactly what is at a loss in your situation, but give me one moment so I can figure it out, and then we will figure out what exactly did the moon bring that put us at this loss. Okay, so the card that actually is needed to move from Acquisitio to Rubius is Tristitia, and it's a sad card. It has to do with like sorrows and losses and things like that. Yeah, something between the two of you has been lost. The bad thing is well, maybe not. Let me think about this. It's not that bad, okay, because it's stable energy, okay? The loss is actually in stable energy, and usually if something is lost and it comes as stable, it usually means that there's a possibility that it can be regained or, you know, found again, okay? So but there is something that happens around the full moon that is going to put you in a position of being upset, disappointed, saddened, disheartened, and possibly even feeling betrayed, okay? But it's definitely some sort of sorrow, all right? But to be fair though, Rubius is not as bad as Tristitia. So what it's saying to me is you all were in a great place, but you just lost some of the momentum, okay? And that's what's reflecting after the full moon. Like, you lost some of the momentum. Maybe the communication isn't going to be coming in the way that it was coming in before, okay? But I mean, there is a possibility that things can pick back up. So just keep that in mind. We'll look back at it again when it's new moon. Okay, so when it comes to work, before the full moon, I have you as Tristitia. Wow, earth signs, you're just having a hard time. I feel you, because I'm an earth sign too. After we have you at Amicio. Now, I'm going to tell you, a lot of times, I don't know for sure because I haven't added it up yet, but a lot of times, to move from one bad thing to the next bad thing, sometimes there is really something good that happens in between here. But it just means that the energy in general is just a little funky, and it may take for you to get out of a cycle. So let me add these up really quick and figure out what is our full moon card, okay? Okay, so the card that the moon is bringing is Puella, okay, which means girl. Is ruled by Venus, and it's actually not a bad card, but what it's saying to me is a lot of times Puella means like bringing in something new, birthing something new, with it being feminine energy, like pregnancy. I think there's going to be some new changes coming on in your work life. You know, whether you work for yourself or whether you work for someone else, I believe that there's something totally new coming to shake up the whole place. And I think that at first you find yourself at a loss. It's a new situation. Earth signs are notorious for not handling change so well, and it could be a possibility that Amicio here is just representing the fact that you are at a loss for a little while because you know, you're used to things being really stable, whether they're good or bad stable, as opposed to, you know, moving and shaking. Okay, so to look at it now, I think that the issue is it's just going to be a whole new situation, and it's going to take you a minute to adjust. Okay, and that's how I see your work life for the full moon in Aquarius. We're gonna move on down to your home life and see what is it like before the full moon. So before we have it as Carcer, after we have it as Letitia. Okay, so what I can say is before the full moon, I have you feeling trapped within your own home, okay, or family life. I feel like there are things that you may want to accomplish, or things you may want to do, or may even be places that you want to go to and you just can't seem to go, and you feel like a prisoner within your own home. It could also be that there is someone in the home making you uncomfortable and making you feel like a prisoner in your own home. After the full moon though, I have you in a full position of joy. Okay, this is a peak. It's almost like an orgasm. Okay, or well, let's just say a plateau, but it is like an orgasm. Okay, so after the full moon, I have you in a happy place. Okay, you know, and it could just be that you decided to make the best of the situation. Give me one moment to figure out the card that goes in between here, and we'll talk about what exactly is the moon's energy. And lo and behold, earth signs, the card that comes in between your prison and your happiness is some sort of fucking sorrows. What does that say to me? This is Tristitia, as we talked earlier. It has to do with sorrows. And we have the moon bringing in sorrow as far as your love life and your home life goes. So for some of you people, this very well could be a spouse, okay? The way I see it is sometimes the tables turn. And I feel like the moon is bringing catalysts, okay, to you to see you move from one place to the next. And sometimes the things that get you going ain't sugar and spice and everything nice. I think you're going to find yourself disappointed in your home life. And the disappointment is going to be great enough that you're going to say to yourself, I don't want to feel like this anymore, and I'm not going to feel like this anymore because I have the power over how I feel, okay? I have the power over my own life, and I think that this piece of whatever it is that the moon brings to you, that brings this sorrow or disappointment, is going to put you in a position of deciding to be happy anyways. And that is a valuable piece, okay? In this case, this horrible piece of news is actually an extremely valuable piece. So I hope you've enjoyed this earth signs. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Feel free to comment down below, good and or bad. And we're going to move right on into air signs. So welcome, air signs. We're going to do your full moon Aquarius reading. We'll do 2 cards for each category, before the full moon, after the full moon, and we'll figure out what exactly is the full moon bringing, okay? So this is your love life before the full moon and after the full moon. This is your work life before the full moon and after the full moon. And this is your home life before the full moon and after the full moon, okay? So let's get right on into it. So for your love life, I have it starting off as a Via, okay? This was my personal one too, so I'm taking it that my personal reading has to do with my moon sign. My moon sign is an air sign, okay? So I kind of feel like maybe I'm going to be vibing with you all in this reading. Okay. Before the full moon, we have you in Via, which is ruled by the moon, actually. It is a pathway, okay? It is a card that represents taking new paths, walking down a path. If you think about the path card in Lenormand or Crossroads and things, like all of those things. Anything that represents a road, it lets you know that you're taking the steps, you're moving along. This is a positive card. It is mobile energy, okay? It is moving from one place to the next, okay? After the full moon, I have you as Puella, which is girl, and this is stable energy. It is ruled by Venus. It feels like the situation is pregnant. Could possibly mean that you may be getting pregnant. It doesn't have to be, but it does mean that the romantic situation is pregnant, meaning that it is full of life. There is new life within the life that is already going on there, okay? Things are on the up and up, and you are in a period of increase. Now let's figure out what exactly is the energy of the moon on this one, and I will be right back. The energy of the full moon will be rubious. There will be some sort of loss, okay? This is a mobile energy card, okay? It is ruled by Mars, okay? I believe there will be some sort of disagreement, misunderstanding, miscommunication, argument, and or fight, okay? But I also see that because you two are dedicated down this path, this fight is actually going to put you in a position to make up. This is breakups to makeups type of combination, okay? It's like the two of you are going to find out where each other stands in the middle of this argument, and it's going to allow you to meet each other at a better place. And that's why this came out to be the pregnancy card, okay? The two of you are going to come together the way that masculine and feminine does come together, and you're going to create something new, okay? So this little argument or lover spat that you're going to have is actually going to put your relationship in a better place. Okay, when we move down to work before the full moon, we have you in Fortuna Minor. Okay, this is a mobile energy card as well. It means that you still have the cup, you still have luck on your side, but some of it has spilled out because the cup is turned over. Okay, so it's not the cup is not standing upright. Someone's pouring in. It's when it's major, the cup is upright, someone's pouring in and it's overflowing. And minor, the cup is tipped over. So okay, so you lost what you had, you're not gaining anymore right now, but you still holding champagne glass, so it's not that bad. But after the full moon, I have you in Letitia. Okay, and that's a really bad place. That is a severe loss card, sorrow, disappointments, and things like that. So give me one moment to figure out what is the card that goes in between these two, and let's see what exactly does the full moon bring concerning your work. So the card that we have in the middle is Rubius. Okay, and you know, Rubius means to be in the red. It's like a missio in a way. It is to be missing something, or you know, in the arrears. Yeah, well, you know, to be at a loss somewhat. Okay, so what is the moon bringing? Obviously though, I see it a little differently, because when I think about being in the red, or just the color red altogether, I kind of feel like something happened at work that put you in a position that you weren't supposed to be in, or that you didn't, I don't want to say deserve, but it's not like one of your actions actually brought the bad luck about. That's what I want to say. Okay, and I feel like the full moon is going to bring you the type of energy that makes you really pissed off about the situation. Okay, it's like it's not right and you're pissed off about it. Okay, and after the full moon, you move from being pissed off about it to just feeling desperate about the situation. This is your way of making a living, and yeah, I get it. Shit isn't going your way. It wasn't due to your own fault. Okay, and yeah, it's just a bad time. Okay, so the moon doesn't look like it's going to be so good to you as far as work goes. All right. When it comes down to home life, though, we have you as Puer before the full moon, and after the full moon, I have you as called Draconis. Okay, neither one of those cards are the best cards, but neither one is the worst either. Okay, Puer is just masculine energy, so you know, could be a little aggressive at home, could just be playful. All right, before the full moon, and after the full moon, it's kind of like chasing the tail. So not being the leader, you know, having to follow the rules of someone else in your home. Okay, let's figure out what is the card that goes in between these two, and then we'll talk about the moon's actual energy. Y'all wouldn't believe I just recorded all of this and didn't record it, but let's just get into it. Okay, so the card that the moon is actually bringing in is Fortuna Major. Okay, Fortuna Major is actually a stroke of luck. Okay, you can see the sun in the corner, so it is like positive light being shined on the situation. So in retrospect, what Puer means in this situation is that Things are probably a little rowdy, a little maybe a little out of control, a little aggressive at home, okay? And after the moon, things are going to, and the home are going to become called a draconis, meaning that the home is going to be the tail of the dragon, but someone is going to take the head of the dragon position. With a bear being on this card, it makes me think it will be the lady of the house. If not, it could be the man in the house. But someone will be taking the lead. They will be kaput draconis, and the rest of the household will be the tail of the dragon. There needs to be a leader. So this card tells me that there was light shed on the situation because someone decides to take the lead. And once they take the lead, then everything else falls in line accordingly. Okay? So, I hope you enjoyed this reading, water signs. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and feel free to comment down below, good and or bad. And let's run right on into water signs. So hello water signs, we're going to get right on into your full moon and Aquarius reading. Let's just go on and get it on. So this is the energy of your love life before the full moon, and this is it after the full moon. Okay, all right, this is your work life before the full moon, and this is your work life after the full moon, and this is your home life before the full moon and after the full moon. Because of my last reading, I'm going to see this totally different. Alright, let's just start off with your love life. Before the full moon, I have it as Tristitia. And that's just a really sad occurrence. It is a grief-driven energy. Alright, okay, so you are at a loss romantically, okay? After the full moon, though, I have you at Cauda Draconis, okay? That is actually, it's not a bad card, okay? It is still a dragon, but it's the tail of the dragon and not the head of the dragon, okay? So I'm going to take it to be that your partner is going to take the lead in the situation, and that's actually going to make things move for the better. But let's figure out really quick what is the energy that the moon is bringing in. I'll be right back. Okay, so the energy that the moon is bringing is via. Via is the way. It is a path. It is a walkway, okay? So what it says to me is that things weren't happy. Things weren't going the way that you wanted to go. But I believe that the two of you decided that this is something that you still both want to do. You still want to walk on the path. And then deciding that, it puts you in a position where you all are chasing after the dragon's tail, okay? It's as if like this relationship is about to take on a life of its own. The dragon's head is very auspicious and lucky, okay? And since you decide to walk together, the dragon is leading you, okay? And you are following behind the tail. So that is a good reading for you all romantically wise, okay? So just know the moon is going to bring in some new energy to allow the two of you to decide that you're walking on the same path, okay? For work, okay, before the full moon we have you in Rubius, and after we have you in Conjunctio, okay? Rubius is being in the red, being at a loss, you know, not being on the up and up, okay? So something was off considering work. It didn't have you in the gains, it had you in the losses, okay? After the full moon, I have you in Conjunctio, okay? This is actually a good card, okay? This card means that you're at a crossroads. Things are going to change, all right? Totally, all right? Now let's see. What is going to bring us from being in the loss to the crossroads? Then that will be the moon's energy. Give me one moment. So looky what the moon is bringing. The moon is actually bringing the counterpart of what you're in. You're in the red, and the moon is going to bring the white, okay? That means things are going to balance out. Things are going to become peaceful. Things are just going to be, it's almost like a blank slate almost, okay? Which is how you get the conjunction, okay? So things were bad. The full moon is going to bring an opportunity for things, for slates to be wiped clean. That will put you at the crossroads, and from the crossroads you can go wherever it is that you want to go, okay? So this is a pretty decent reading as well. Let's move on into home life. We have you starting off in before the full moon in Puer, after the full moon in Fortuna Major. Puer in the home in my last couple readings has been looking like disorganization, rough housing, bickering, things like that. Okay, childishness going on in the home. All right, and maybe some aggressiveness. After the full moon, I have things on the up and up. I have the cup overflowing, so it seems like everyone will be getting along, everyone will be happy, and all types of wonderful things will be happening to everyone in the home. Now, give me one moment to figure out what is the card that goes from here to here, so we can figure out what is the moon's energy. So once again, we have Kyle the Draconis in this home situation, okay? What it seems to me is that the moon is going to bring an energy where you find yourselves being the follower of one strong leader in the household, okay? It's usually going to be the woman, especially with a bear being on the card. It is usually going to be the woman of the house, but it doesn't have to be. The point is that someone is going to step up to the plate, okay, to be the dragon's head, and the rest of you are going to fall in line as you should, as the tail of the dragon, okay? And that is what is going to bring hope, happiness, and abundance to your home, okay? So I hope you all enjoyed this reading, water signs. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and feel free to comment down below, good and or bad. And this is going to conclude the full moon reading. I apologize if it was a little too lengthy, if it ever got confusing. If you don't understand how I got from one to the next, just don't even worry about the math, because I don't think that maybe some of you really won't, a lot of you really won't. I just wanted you to know where you are before the moon, after the moon, and what the moon actually brings. And I hope that at least made sense, okay? I hope everyone has a wonderful full moon, and I will see you all after the full moon. Bye.
I think I'm good at that shit. Yeah. Every day I keep it real and get that bag, ho, cause that shit up for grabs, ho. Put that